तर बघा आपण मिशन MPSC @2025 GS-3 चा आपण सिलेबस बघत आहोत. आपण मायक्रो लिस्टिंग करत आहे सिलेबसचं. तर बघा आज आपण GS-3 सामान्य अध्ययन 3 या यामध्ये महत्त्वाचे भाग काय आहेत बघा. 3 विषय महत्त्वाचे आहे म्हणजे इकॉनॉमी, एन्व्हायरमेंट, सुरक्षा, सिक्युरिटी असे विषय आहेत. तर आपण बघा डिटेल बघणार आहोत. तंत्रज्ञान, आर्थिक विकास, जैवविविधता, पर्यावरण, सुरक्षा आणि आपत्ती व्यवस्थापन महाराष्ट्राला काय महत्त्व देऊन GS-3 चा सिलेबस बघत आहोत आपण. भारतीय अर्थव्यवस्था आणि नियोजन, संशोधनाचे एकत्रीकरण, वाढ, विकास आणि रोजगाराच्या संबंधित समस्या, सर्वसमावेशक वाढ आणि त्यातून उद्भवणारे मुद्दे, सरकारी अंदाजपत्रक, बजेट, प्रमुख पिके, देश आणि विविध भागातील पीक पद्धती, क्रॉपिंग पॅटर्न, विविध प्रकारचे सिंचन, इरिगेशन आणि इरिगेशन सिस्टीम, साठवणूक, शेती उत्पादन, वाहतूक आणि विपणन समस्या आणि संबंधित अडचणी, ई तंत्रज्ञान, ई टेक्नॉलॉजी, शेतकऱ्याच्या मदतीसाठी अप्रत्यक्ष शेती अनुदान आणि किमान आधारभूत किमतीची संबंधित समस्या, मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस MSP, सार्वजनिक वितरण प्रणाली, उद्दिष्ट, कार्यप्रणाली, मर्यादा, सुधारणा, बफर स्टॉक आणि अन्न सुरक्षा समस्या, तंत्रज्ञान आणि पशुपालनाचे अर्थशास्त्र, भारतातील अन्न प्रक्रिया आणि संबंधित उद्योग, फूड प्रोसेसिंग इंडस्ट्री, व्याप्ती आणि महत्त्व, अपस्ट्रीम अँड डाउनस्ट्रीम आवश्यकता, पुरवठा साखळी व्यवस्थापन, सप्लाय चेन मॅनेजमेंट, भारतातील जमीन सुधारणा, अर्थव्यवस्थेतील उदारीकरणाचे परिणाम, औद्योगिक धोरणातील बदल आणि त्याच्या औद्योगिक वाढीवर परिणाम, पायाभूत सुविधा, ऊर्जा, बंदरे, रस्ते, विमानतळ, रेल्वे इत्यादी गुंतवणूक मॉडेल, इन्व्हेस्टमेंट मॉडेल, विज्ञान आणि तंत्रज्ञानातील घडामोडी, दैनंदिन जीवनावर त्याचे उपयोग आणि परिणाम, विज्ञान आणि तंत्रज्ञानातील भारतातील उपलब्धी, तंत्रज्ञानातील स्वदेशीकरण, इंडियनायझेशन आणि नवीन तंत्रज्ञान विकसित करणे, टेक्नॉलॉजिकल डेव्हलपमेंट, इनोव्हेशन, IT, स्पेस, कॉम्प्युटर, रोबोटिक्स, नॅनो टेक्नॉलॉजी, मशीन लर्निंग, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजन्स, बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी आणि बौद्धिक संपदा अधिकाराशी संबंधित समस्या, इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टी राईट्स, ज्यामध्ये आपले इंडिया वर्सेस USA अमेरिका असे भांडण आहे इंटेलेक्च्युअल प्रॉपर्टी राईट्स क्षेत्रात, जागरूकता, संवर्धन, पर्यावरणीय प्रदूषण आणि रॅस, पर्यावरणीय प्रभाव मूल्यांकन, आपत्ती व्यवस्थापन, आपत्ती जोखीम, लवचिकता, फ्लेक्झिबिलिटी, ऑपरेशनल फ्लेक्झिबिलिटी, ॲडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव्ह अडॅप्टेबिलिटी, लवचिक समाज विकास आणि अतिवादाचा प्रसार याच्यातील संबंध, अंतर्गत सुरक्षेसाठी आव्हाने निर्माण करण्यात बाह्य राज्य आणि गैरराज्य यांची भूमिका. आता बघा टेररिझम आहे, नॉन स्टेट ऍक्टर आहे, संप्रेषण नेटवर्कद्वारे अंतर्गत सुरक्षेसाठी आव्हाने जसं नक्षलिझम आहे, अंतर्गत सुरक्षा आव्हानामध्ये मीडिया आणि नेटवर्किंग साईटची भूमिका, सायबर क्राईम वाढलेला आहे, सायबर सुरक्षेच्या मूलभूत गोष्टी, मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग आणि त्याचे प्रतिबंध, सीमा भागातील सुरक्षा आव्हाने आणि त्याचे व्यवस्थापन, संघटित गुन्हेगारीच्या दहशतवादाची संबंध, ऑर्गनाइज्ड क्राईम, सुरक्षा दले आणि एजन्सी. अशा प्रकारे आपण हा GS-3 चा सिलेबस बघितलेला आहे. आपण इंग्रजीत बघूया आता. जनरल स्टडीज 3. आता बघा महत्वाचे 3 विषय आहेत जे इकॉनॉमी, एन्व्हायरमेंट, इंटरनल सिक्युरिटी आणि टेक्नॉलॉजी, जे सायन्स अँड टेक्नॉलॉजी मध्ये येते असे विषय आहेत. तर बघा GS-3 टेक्नॉलॉजी, इकॉनॉमिक डेव्हलपमेंट, बायोडायव्हर्सिटी, एन्व्हायरमेंट, सिक्युरिटी अँड डिझास्टर मॅनेजमेंट विथ सम वेटेज टू महाराष्ट्र. तर बघा इंडियन इकॉनॉमी and issue related to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment, inclusive growth, सर्वसमावेशी growth and issue arising from it, government budgeting, major cropping pattern in various part of country, different types of irrigation system, storage, transport, marketing of agricultural produce and issue related to constraints, e-technology in the aid of farmer, issue related to direct and indirect farm subsidies, minimum support prices, public distribution system, objectives, functionings, limitations, revamping, issue of buffer stocks and food security, technology missions, economics of animal rearing, food processing and related to industries in India, scope and significance, location, upstream and downstream requirements, supply chain management, land reforms in India, effects of liberalization on economy, changes in industrial policy and their effects on industrial growth, infrastructure, energy, ports, roads, airports, railways, investment models, service, science and technology, developments and their applications and impact in everyday life, achievements of Indians in science and technology, Indianization of technology and developing new technology, awareness in the field of IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology and issue related to intellectual property rights (IPR), conservation, environmental pollution and degradation, environmental impact assessment, disaster and disaster management, disaster risk resilience, resilient society, linkage between development and spread of extremism, role of external state and non-state actors in creating challenges to internal security, challenges to internal security through communication networks, role of media, social networking sites in internal security challenges, basis of cyber security, money laundering and its prevention, security challenges and their management in broader areas, linkages of organized crime with terrorism, various security forces, agencies in their mandate. तर बघा, पण इकॉनॉमी या विषयाचे सिलेबसचे मायक्रो लिस्टिंग करूया. बेसिक इकॉनॉमी बघा आता. इंडियन इकॉनॉमी अँड इश्यू रिलेटेड टू प्लॅनिंग. इंडियन इकॉनॉमी इन प्री इंडिपेंडन्स पिरियड. Economy on eye of independence, challenges, features, post-independent India, issues, agriculture and its development so far, industry, services, phases of economic development of India, Jawaharlal Nehru to Narendra Modi, Nehruvian socialist economy, economic reforms, planning, objective, planning history, analysis of each plan, 5-year plan, growth and development of economic growth in India, national income determination, GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP, personal income, economic growth versus economic development, measures of economic development, rise in real per capita income. Real gross national product, Human Development Index, GDP, Gender Related Development Index, Poverty Index, Economic and Social Development in India, Millennium Development Goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and India Employment, Resource Mobilization, Type of Resources, Physical Capital, Finance Capital, Human Capital, Need for Resource Mobilization, Police, State, Democratic Welfare State, Sources of resource mobilization, public sector and private sector, savings and investment over 5-year plan, budgetary resources, tax and non-tax, role of public debt in resources mobilization and effects, market borrowing, loan, grants, role of fiscal and monetary policies in resource mobilizations, role of foreign investment in resource mobilization and disability in consequence, multilateral agency and resource mobilization, inclusive growth and issue arising from it, meaning and concept of inclusion, India's experience, social sector initiative and inclusion process, ground reality and working flagship of scheme, India's growth story in this context, rural economy based growth, need of sustainable agriculture, food security, resilience for growth, public distribution scheme, way to inclusive growth, financial inclusion as an instrument of inclusive growth, poverty elevation and employment generation as a strategy for inclusive growth, social sector development as an instrument for inclusive growth, public-private partnership for inclusive growth, industrial integration for inclusive growth, sectoral and regional diversification as a tool for inclusive growth, governmental scheme and policies for inclusive growth, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Mudra, Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency Bank, Self-Employment and Talent Utilization Setu, Skill India, महात्मा गांधी नॅशनल रूरल एम्प्लॉयमेंट गॅरंटी स्कीम, मनरेगा, किसान कार्ड, प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना, नॅशनल ॲग्रिकल्चर मार्केट, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योती योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन सुरक्षा योजना, अटल पेन्शन योजना, डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम. Government budgeting, budget, economic survey, budget terminology, type of budget, features of outcome budgeting, merger of railway and general budget, benefits of budgeting, flaws in budgeting process, budget analysis, subsidy. Investment models, need for investment, source of investment, measures of investment, capital investment, factors affecting investment, classification of investments, types of investment models followed by India, domestic investment models, public investment models, private investment models, public private partnership models जसे की bought, built, operate, transfer, foreign investment models, FDIs, FIIs, role of state, public private partnership, savings and investment trades, fiscal policy in India, important budget terms and fiscal concepts, government revenue and spending, deficit and financings, revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, primary deficit, balance sheet. Taxation, meaning, principle of taxation, objective of taxation, taxation for mobilization of resources, tax system in India, current taxation policy of India, subsidies, tax reforms, GS-3 and its progress, retrospective taxation in India, monetary policy in India, instrument of monetary policy in pre-reform era 1948 ते 1991, monetary policy in post-reform era since 1991, Urjit Patel Committee report, monetary policy committee and inflation targeting, financial system, Indian financial system and overview, components of Indian financial system, financial institutions, banking institutions or depository institutions, non-banking institutions or non-depository institutions, other regulatory, intermediary, non-intermediary, financial asset, call money, notice money, term money, treasury bills, certificate of deposit, commercial papers, financial services, banking services, insurance services, investment services, foreign exchange services, financial market, capital market, money market, foreign exchange market, credit market, Indian financial market and pandemic. बँकिंग सेक्टर बघा, आपण इकॉनॉमिक्सच्या सिलेबसचे मायक्रो लिस्टिंग करत आहे. GS-3 सामान्य अध्ययन 3 विषयाचे डिटेल अनालिसिस, त्यामध्ये इकॉनॉमीचे सब सिलेबस पॉइंटचे लिस्टिंग करत आहे. बँकिंग इन इंडिया, डेफिनेशन, स्ट्रक्चर अँड फंक्शन्स, origin of banking sector, type of banks in India, central bank, Reserve Bank of India, cooperative banks, commercial banks, public sector banks, State Bank of India, private sector banks, HDFC Bank, foreign banks, City Bank, RRB, Regional Rural Bank, Local Area Bank, Specialized Bank, CDB Bank, NABARD, Small Finance Bank, Payment Banks, Airtel Payment Banks, nationalization of banks in India, banking sector reforms in India, Narsimha Committee 1-2, Nachikant Moore Committee, PJ Naik Committee ज्यांनी इंद्रधनुष्य फॉर्म्युला आणला होता बँकिंग रिफॉर्म साठी, डेव्हलपमेंट फायनान्स इन्स्टिट्यूशन, IFSCI, ICIC, CDB, IDBI, UTI, LIC, GIC, न्यू बँक लायसन्स क्रायटेरिया, नॉन बँकिंग फायनान्शियल कंपनी NBFC, फायनान्शियल इन्क्लुजन इन इंडिया, नीड अँड फ्युचर ऑफ PMJDI, Payment Bank and Small Banks, NPH, Bill related to banking, Neo Bank, Emerging concept of bad banks, Insurance sector of India, Bank privatization, Account aggregator system, Domestic systematically important banks, DSIB, Foreign trade and international organizations, International trade, Trade policy, India's balance of payment, current account, capital account, goods and service accounts, India's BOP performance, balance of payment performance, balance of payment versus balance of trade, current account versus capital account, foreign capital, impact of globalization on Indian economy, FDI and FPI in India, external commercial borrowing, foreign exchange rate determination in India, foreign exchange and rate determination in India, type of exchange rate, capital and current account convertibility in India, तारापूर कमिटी होती त्यासाठी, ब्रिटन वुड्स ट्विन्स, वर्ल्ड बँक, IMF, इंटरनॅशनल मॉनिटरी फंड, वर्ल्ड बँक ग्रुप, वर्ल्ड ट्रेड ऑर्गनायझेशन WTO आणि इंडिया, ADB, NDB, ब्रिक्स बँक, AIB, bilateral, regional and global groupings, an agreement involving India, important reports and forecast, agriculture, role of agriculture in Indian economy, situation of Indian agriculture, historical backgrounds and current status, cropping pattern and type of croppings, systems, monocropping, crop rotation, sequential cropping, intercropping, relay cropping, issue related to direct and indirect farm subsidies and minimum support prices, farm subsidies in India, definition, working, need and negative impacts, type of farm subsidies in Indian agriculture, irrigation and power subsidies, fertilizer subsidy, seed subsidy, credit subsidy, government intervention in Indian agriculture, minimum support prices in Indian agriculture, MSP definition, working, issue, drawbacks, way ahead, buffer stock, public distribution system in India, definition, issues, working, needs, disadvantages, targeted public distribution in India, अंत्योदय अन्न योजना, targeted PDS in India, अंत्योदय अन्न योजना, alternative to PDS, direct benefit transfer, DBT, National Food Security Act, agriculture marketing, major crops, major cropping patterns in different parts of country, different types of irrigation, transport and marketing of agriculture produce, issue associated with constraints, e-technology for farmers, conclusive land titling, biotech, Kisan program, land resources, land use, land capability classification, causes of land degradation, impacts of land degradation, step taken by Government of India, sustainable land management, land reforms, land ownership pattern under British rule, zamindari system, permanent settlement of Bengal, raitwari system, mahalwari system, land reforms is independence, objective of land reforms in India, progress of land reforms in India, progress of sealing legislation, Niti Aayog report on land leasing, Swamitwa, survey of villages and mapping with improvised technology in village areas, agricultural finance, feature of agriculture finance, criteria for agriculture credit, need for agricultural finance, sources of agricultural finance, problems of agricultural finance, measures taken to improve credit flow to agriculture, cooperative credit societies in India, derivative trade in agriculture commodities, important scheme, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Mandan Yojana, PM Kisan scheme, Paramkarat Krishi Vikas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, Raitu Bandhu scheme, agriculture credit institution, commercial bank, lead bank scheme, multi-agency approach, regional rural bank, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development NABARD, Reserve Bank of India, Kisan Credit Card Scheme, Self-Help Group and Bank Linkage Program, Rural Infrastructure and Development Fund, Government Policy for Agriculture Credit, Farm Service Societies, Crop Insurance in India, Historical Background, Issue related to crop insurance, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Comparison with earlier crop insurance scheme, Challenges, Important scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, Kisan Credit Card Scheme, Soil Health Card Scheme, National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, agriculture marketing, process of agriculture marketing in India, structure of agriculture marketing in India, importance of proper agriculture marketing, government measures to improve agriculture marketing in India, analysis of APMC Act, National Agriculture Market, ENAM, subsidies in India, farm subsidies, fertilizer subsidies, subsidy on power, subsidy on irrigation, issue related to direct and indirect farm subsidies, minimum support prices, objectives of subsidies, transfer of resources from gainers from economic policy to losers from economic policy, issue of buffer stocks and food security, technology missions. Economics of animal rearing, public distribution system, objectives, functioning, limitations, revamping, evolution from universal PDS to targeted PDS, a critical analysis of cost benefit of PDS. शांताकुमार कमिटी आहे पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्युशन सिस्टीम साठी. ते म्हणतात की टार्गेटेड पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्युशन सिस्टीम असायला पाहिजे. Buffer stock policy and government's intervention in food market to keep prices under reasonable limits to help consumers. Food security bill, question of resource mobilization for food security bill, criticism of FSV. Important question on future of subsidies. Agriculture revolution in India, green revolution, white revolution, operation flood, yellow revolution, blue revolution, golden fiber revolution, jute, future of Indian agriculture, data revolution for Indian agriculture, artificial intelligence in agriculture, social security scheme for farmers, food processing and related to industries, scope and significance, location, upstream and downstream requirements, supply chain management, proceed food scenario with respect to specific sector, policy initiative, policy related to infrastructure development in food processing sector, issue in food processing sector, FDI policy in food processing, notable trade in Indian food processing sector, strategies adopted in budget, new foreign and domestic investment, sector specific government policies, industrial policy and industrial development main issue, Mahalanobis strategy and India's industrial policy, discussing India's industrial policy resolution of 1948 and 1956 critically, new economic policy and industrial policy under policy of liberalization, privatization, globalization, उदारीकरण, खाजगीकरण, जागतिकीकरण, phases of industrial development, effects of liberalization on economy, changes in industrial policy and their effects on industrial growth, impact on different sector of economy, main feature of industrial development in India, roles of private sector and public sector, investment in industrial sector, employment, productivity and profit, strategies for disinvestment and privatization, role of small, medium and micro enterprises, government policy, main problems, effect of globalization, जागतिकीकरणाचे परिणाम, पॉझिटिव्ह, निगेटिव्ह, न्यू मॅन्युफॅक्चर पॉलिसी, इंडस्ट्रियल डिस्पर्सल and industrial corridors, sales, main issue like land use, reallocation of same industries that exist, export earnings versus loss of tax income, industrial sickness, institutional mechanism to support the sick industries, exit policy issue, main constraint in industrial development of India, effects of globalization on industries, subprime crisis and sovereign debt crisis on industry in India. Industrial finances India, role of development banking, commercial and banking, venture capital, angel capital in industrialization and promotion of entrepreneurship, make in India achievement, transformation of MSB sector and impact on India. त्यानंतर आपण बघा इकॉनॉमीचे सब टॉपिक लिस्टिंग करत आहे. इंडस्ट्री बघितला, एग्रीकल्चर बघितला, आता इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर या टॉपिकचे मायक्रो लिस्टिंग करत आहे. Impact of infrastructure, economy impacts on social development, environmental impacts. Transports, ports, ocean transport routes, inland waterways, main region of inland waterways, roads, importance, government push towards road infrastructure, national infrastructure pipeline, Bharatmala Pariyojana, airports, air routes and significance, factors influencing air transport, railways, factors affecting railroads, distribution of railroads in the world, energy pipeline, transport, petroleum, oil pipeline, gas pipeline, importance and development of transport, means of transport cost and economic distance, operation cost in transport, government transport policy, transport pattern in world, transport cost and specialization, transport and trade in modern era, transport cost and scale of economies. Falling transport cost increases trade between neighbors. Falling transport cost lead to concentration of within countries. Negative externalities of transport, important issue, ownership and financing, pricing of public utilities, infrastructure as an avenue for investment, project delay, reasons and measures to overcome public-private partnership related issue, operations and maintenance of roads, railways, irrigation, power projects, main problems and solution, important schemes, PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, Mega Investment Textile Park, Mitra Scheme, National Bank for Financing Infrastructure and Development, NABID, to fund infrastructure project in India, National Industrial Corridor Development Program, recent developments, pulses for food security and sustainable future, General Insurance Amendment Bill, Pandora's Papers, National Urban Digital Mission, One District, One Product, a potential game changer, Propositions 22, the future of gig economy, central bank digital currency. Virtual currencies, taxing virtual currency, GSAP-1 Securities Acquisition Plan to boost market, G7 Corporate Tax Deal, major reforms in national gas marketing, National Monetization Pipeline, National Mission on Edible Oil, Zero Debate Zero Effect Scheme, World Hunger Index, World Inequality Report, India's telecom sector and issue, shifting towards green energy, gig economy in India, state of food and agriculture, fertilizer shortage in India, world employment social outlook, e-gram swaraj, e-financial management issue, contemporary issue, GST analysis, issue with offshore investment, credit rating agency and their implication, fiscal federalism in India, GST provision, issue with banking sector, issue related to mobilization of capital, effectiveness of monetary policy committee in high fiscal deficit situation, lesson on NPA from global banks, government scheme for industry need for reform in market infrastructure institutions, renewable energy sector, goals related to deadlines, financing of infrastructure India, issue challenges government steps, transiting to sustainable energy ecosystem, global value chains, significance for India and its concern, rising new form of protectionism, how is India's exchange rate related to its current account deficit, foreign forex reserve balance of payments, India's employment scenario, online gaming sector, the insolvency in bankruptcy code, short selling of shares, carbon tax, bank failures in USA, debate in financial inclusion, RBI's digital currency, potential challenges, the serious situation of hunger in India, innovation and India Global Innovation Index, India's energy security, rupee depreciation, banking system liquidity, its deficit mode, impact of Russia-Ukraine conflict of Indian economy, freebies and their economic viability, India and its race to be the list of largest economy, hyperlapse consumerism, assessing India's economic progress since independence, required reforms in indirect taxation GS-3 2.0, significance of semiconductor devices in Indian economy, India's fertilizer sector, India as a global organic fertilizer hub, universal basic income, reforms in India's agriculture. India and its problem of bad loans, credit challenges on credit flows, on all-round capital spending of RBI, proposal of forward-looking approach for loan losses, digital crop survey in India, center to give incentives for banks to promote digital payments, International Year of Millets, how India's government can promote cereal in 2023, economic survey, primary agriculture credit societies, just energy transition partnership, JET-P, new tax regime, status and procedure of disinvestment, Bhutan graduated from least developed country status, RBI allows bank to other nations to trade in rupee, PM Mitra, 7 states selected to develop mega textile park, prudent asset liability management, SEBI getting set to regulate index provider. अशा प्रकारे आपण GS-3 मधील इकॉनॉमी या सेक्शनचे डिटेल सिलेबसचं मायक्रो लिस्टिंग केलेलं आहे. त्यानंतर आपण सायन्स अँड टेक्नॉलॉजी, इंटरनल सिक्युरिटी, एन्व्हायरमेंट चे पुढील लेक्चरमध्ये करणार आहोत. थँक्स फॉर कोऑपरेशन.